Council, upon the approval of the President and Council, has also directed the Bureau for Public Procurement to communicate the new threshold on procurement of goods and services. You will agree with me that the threshold has been there for a very long time, and this is also contributing to the number of memos that come to the Federal Executive Council for approval. So there is a new approval. Details will be communicated by the Bureau of Public Procurement. This will, notify MDAs on the new threshold for projects, goods, and services. Second, Council has also taken note of the increased collaboration that government is desirous of doing with the private sector, and in that direction has directed all MDAs, especially the Ministry of Works and others that deal with critical infrastructure, to collaborate more with the private sector in terms of infrastructure development. What I'm trying to say is that government is saying that there is the need, increasing need for people in the private sector to participate actively in our economic growth here as a nation, and therefore wherever there are private sector players that can participate using their own funds, and we have seen an increased appetite among private sector players to come in and contribute their own quota towards the infrastructure revamp of the economy, especially in the area of roads construction. So Council has directed that there must be this increased collaboration with the private sector players, so that together the economy can grow. There is also an acknowledgement, and I'm sure you have seen that in the news in the last few days, the creativity of Mr. President and his acumen is brought to the fore, where Nigeria is able to exit the $3.4 billion COVID loan fund that was given by the IMF. Of course, I saw some cynicism in some quarters whether this is actually true or not. We can report authoritatively that Nigeria has indeed exited from that debt, and what that means is that we have paid that debt fully. Of course, this was taken during the COVID time, before the coming of this administration. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his usual way, is seeing government as a continuum, and therefore has directed that government will exit that, and government has indeed exited that debt. Now, this has gone a long way to show investors, especially investors from outside this country, about the seriousness and the capacity of government to pay off loans once they take it. It has indeed increased our rating the world over, and people are actually very happy that Nigeria is indeed much more responsible in terms of meeting its debt obligation. Council also noted that, and the President has really shown commitment for Nigeria to continue to be disciplined in terms of its borrowing for our national development. I think these are some of these. There's also a conversation, a discussion around some vendors, scrap metal vendors or miners or whatever you call them. We have seen an increased activity among people who, unscrupulously go to steal some of these government assets on the road, by the bridges, and critical metals that people just go and take and then go and sell. The federal government is already mulling the possibility of criminalizing this. Of course, we already have some of these laws in existence, but we are looking at them in depth, and the Attorney General of the Federation has been directed to look at that. There's an increased activity, that government has noted, where people go, especially in the cover of the night, remove some of these government assets, iron metals and scraps, and then go to sell them to other individuals who in turn now recycle them and bring them back to the market. There's an increased activity that government has noted along that direction, and therefore government feels very much concerned and is taking a closer look at how this can be mitigated going forward. Like I said, the Federal Executive Council has actually, the sixth one ended today, but in its bid to ensure that all the memos that should be looked at are cleared expeditiously, the President has, or the Council has all taken a decision that this Wednesday, in 2 days' time, another Federal Executive Council meeting will hold. The idea is to accelerate the pace of decision making so that especially those areas that require urgent attention due to rainy season or other exigencies are immediately looked at. I think on the whole, this is a summary of all that we have had today. Unfortunately, you don't have the benefit of having the Q&A as we normally do. I want to urge you that if there are questions, we can keep them when we meet again on Wednesday. These questions can then be asked. Thank you for not asking so much and not taking much of your time. We appreciate, and we want to thank you most sincerely for being there all the time, but most importantly for also reporting honestly, responsibly, and patriotically in the interest of our nation. Thank you very much. So, yeah.